you might have an accident where your hair just kind of like comes out. Hi beauties, welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy you decided to join me today. I am spilling all the secrets on my hair. If there is one question that I get asked all the time, it is regarding my hair. People are always asking what I do to keep it healthy and looking nice and thick and pretty. And I have a confession, it's not real. I started wearing a halo extension about a year and a half ago, a little over a year and a half ago, because I had a nightmare experience with permanent extensions. And there's a lot to discuss there, so I think that I'll save that for a separate video. But in short, my natural hair has always been super fine and thin, and early on in my blog, a company sent me some hair extensions to try, and it was my first time trying hair extensions ever. And so I tried them and I didn't love them because the quality was terrible. So I didn't use them, and for the first few years of my blog, I just, did what I could with my natural hair. So fast forward to 2 years ago, and I had the opportunity to try out a permanent hair extension, and it was the Bonds. So it's basically pieces of hair glued to your natural hair. Long story short, it completely ruined my hair. I did not even have them in for that long, and oh my gosh, it was terrible. I cried. Oh my gosh, it was so horrible. So being that I'm a blogger and I take pictures all the time, I was embarrassed and I didn't want to take pictures of my hair when it was damaged beyond repair. I heard about halo extensions, and so I was like, you know what, I think that might be a good option for me. I didn't want to go the clip-in route because my hair was already so damaged, and so I didn't want to cause any more damage than there already was. I figured that it was a good option because I would be able to take all of my photos that I needed for the blog and for Instagram, and it would give me time to grow my hair back and get it back into tip-top shape. So after my research, I ended up going with Hidden Crown hair extensions. I had no idea what to expect quality-wise since I had already tried extensions before and they were terrible quality. I had no idea how to use the halo. I was afraid it was gonna like fall off my head or a gust of wind would come and my hair would go flying. So in my original blog post, I did note my first impressions about the brand and about the extensions. If you want to read the rest of my first impressions and everything I thought about the extensions and the process when I first got them, then I'll leave my original blog post in the description so you can click on that below. But today I wanted to talk about my experience with the extensions in general now that I've been wearing them for a year and a half, along with the process of putting them on and the difference between the clip-ons and the halo, because I do have 4 different extensions to show you today. So I'm going to go through all of those just in case you're wondering which one should I get, because it can be daunting. There are differences in each one of them, and I'm going to answer some questions that some of you left on my Instagram. So let's talk about color matching. I highly recommend having someone from Hidden Crown color match you. The process is so easy and it will save you a lot of time in the long run and a lot of returns just in case you get the wrong color. All you have to do is take a good picture of your hair, make sure it's in natural light and that the color is correct because you don't want to be color matched to the wrong color. And then you'll send it to them and they're gonna make a suggestion. Initially, I was so overwhelmed with all the color options they had, and there were a few different ones that I thought could be my color. And so I had them do it, and let me tell you, they got it right on the dot. Plus, they included a few different sample colors that are a little bit similar to your color. So if you did get the wrong color, or if you chose it yourself and it was wrong and you need to return it, they do have little tiny samples in your package that might be a better match for your hair. Okay, so talking about the texture, thickness, and quality. The hair is so smooth and high quality. It's beautiful. It feels like real hair. I am so impressed, especially since I had the bad experience with the other brand and the cheap hair. This is definitely not cheap hair. The thickness depends on which extension you choose, but in my opinion, they're all natural looking. That was a really important factor to me because initially when I got it and I was growing out my hair, I did not want anyone to know the extent of the damage, and I didn't want it to look fake or like I was wearing an extension. I wanted it to look like my real hair. And people mistake this as my real hair all the time, so mission accomplished. What are the differences between the extensions? So I have the DayDream, the Hidden Crown Layers, and the clip-in extension. This is the DayDream in the 18-inch length, and the color is 613 Lightest Blonde. It is 110 grams and 35% less hair than the Hidden Crown. In my opinion, this is the most natural looking of the halos, and I think that it's great for everyday wear. It doesn't look like you're wearing an extension at all. It looks like your real hair, and it has natural ends to mimic that. This is the original Hidden Crown in the 20-inch length in color 613 Lightest Blonde. It is 140 grams. It's 35% thicker than the DayDream, but it still looks very natural. The ends are thick and blunt, and the hair is double drawn, meaning that it is the same thickness throughout. Personally, I think that this one is perfect for more glam looks, or if you really want to make a statement with your hair. This is the Hidden Crown Layers in the 22-inch length, in color 613 Lightest Blonde. It is 170 grams and has 4 built-in layers. Personally, I think this one would be in between the DayDream and Hidden Crown. So it is natural but still glam at the same time, so you could really make a statement with some hairstyles, but it's not too over the top. This is the Hidden Crown clip-in set in the 20-inch length, in color 613 Lightest Blonde. The set includes one 7.5-inch volumizer with 3 clips. The hair is double drawn and it is 80 grams. It also has 2 5-inch side pieces with 3 clips at 50 grams. I think that the clip-ins are the most versatile of the bunch because you don't have to just wear it down or do lower hairstyles. You can wear it like traditional clip-ins, but you can also use them to create really cool hairstyles or braids, buns, ponytails, pretty much anything. How often do I wear my extensions? So I probably wear them on average 2 to 3 times a week. It really just depends because sometimes it's every day, like if I'm on vacation or something like that where I'm out and about. But if I'm just at home, I will use them when I'm shooting, which is usually like once or twice a week. So it really just depends. How long do they last? So the Hidden Crown website says that they last anywhere from 3 to 4 months up to a year or more. But in my experience, if you take good care of them, then they will last much longer. For example, this is my original DayDream, and this is my new DayDream. This one has been washed, it has been heat styled, I've had it for a year and a half, and this one is brand new. I haven't even put this on my head yet. So this is just straight out of the bag. For one, I will say that the texture is a little bit different. So this one is very, very smooth. And I do remember the smoothness lasting for a long, long time, pretty much until you wash it. And this one, it is still really soft and really smooth, but it almost has like a different texture. And since I washed it, it has developed a little wave, which is totally fine. If you have any issues with that, you could just easily straighten it and it's fine. But for me, this goes under my hair, so no one really sees it. So so it doesn't really matter to me. And here's the inside, so you can see it's nicely sewn, and this is the older one, and it's still in great condition. There are no rips, no tears, nothing. And this is the original wire. How strong is the wire, and does it dig into your head? So the wire is very, very strong. It reminds me of a fishing line because it's clear, so you can't really detect it in your hair. At first, it does feel a bit strange to put them on, and in my experience, the first few times, it did leave like a little tiny dent in my head where the wire is. It wasn't painful, and it was only temporary. Once I removed the extension, then it went away shortly after, so it's nothing to be concerned about. But basically, the way that it works is that you have the hair back here, and then the wire goes across the top of your head, and there's a little stretchy piece between the weft and your wire. So there's a little bit of stretch, and when you fit it correctly, it just kind of molds to your head. So over time, it becomes much more comfortable. Not that it's uncomfortable when you first start doing it. It's not really uncomfortable. It's just like something you have to get used to. It's gonna feel a little bit heavy, but then after a while, you don't even realize you're wearing it at all. Is it heavy? So I feel like this depends on which one you get. For example, the original Hidden Crown is heavier than the DayDream, but it does have 30% more hair. And the DayDream, when you put it on for the first couple of times, you're gonna be like, oh, this is kind of weird, but then you get used to it and it doesn't feel like anything is on there at all. It is super lightweight and it just feels like your own hair. And the Hidden Crown is a little bit heavier. You can tell that you're wearing it, but after a while you don't even really notice it. Are they hard to put on? Not at all. Keep in mind that you do have to fit it to your head yourself for obvious reasons because they're not there to do it. But it is really easy to do. Putting it on after it's been correctly fitted does have a slight learning curve, but it is not hard. And once you get used to it, you can do it so fast. It's a piece of cake. I swear, I can put in my extension in 30 seconds. Do they fall off? Okay, this was probably my biggest question, and a lot of people ask this on my Instagram. So no, it does not fall off if you do it correctly. It needs to be fitted to your head and you need to put it on correctly. And if you do, then you're golden. I've worn my extensions pretty much everywhere. I wore one of them to New York Fashion Week in February. The weather was crazy. It was windy and it was cold and I was rushing around from show to show. I was worried that it was gonna give out, but it didn't. It stayed in place even through this crazy windstorm. Not that I recommend that, but I'm just telling you, like, it was on there. I have not had any issues with it just falling off. But although it's super secure, I don't recommend doing gymnastics or headbanging to your favorite metal band or going on a roller coaster a million times because you might have a different experience. Can you style with heat? Yes, you can. I curl mine all the time and I have not had any issues. I will say that my curling iron is at a lower setting just because my natural hair is very fine, and since I'm still growing it out, I don't want to damage it, and I curl my extension with my natural hair so that it holds better. That's just something that I do myself, and so I keep it on a lower heat setting just for that. I don't recommend using the highest heat setting that you have on your curling iron and just like kind of, you know, holding the curl for a minute because that might not be good. I should also note that I do not use products on my extensions. So I use hairspray for my bangs, but that's it. That's just because, you know, I need to hold them, otherwise they're kind of crazy and all over the place. How often do you wash them? Taking care of your extensions is so important to prolonging their life. The process of washing them was a bit foreign to me at first because I didn't really have a lot of experience with extensions. The first time I did it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so scary because I don't want to ruin my extensions. but they were fine and I've done it several times since then, so it hasn't really been an issue. They recommend only washing when necessary, which is 2 to 4 months on average, but for me, I actually went a little bit further. Since I don't wear them every single day and there are sometimes weeks where I don't wear them at all, I don't wash them as often as 2 to 4 months. I probably go more like 5 to 6 months. But again, it really just depends on how often I'm wearing them. How do you store them? Okay, this is a really great question. So when you get your extensions, they actually give you a hanger and a storage bag. If I'm using them a lot, then I'll just leave it on the hanger. But if I'm wearing them a little less often, then I will hang them and put them in the storage bag so that they are protected. I should also mention that it is important to hang it by the weft and not by the wire, because you can damage your extensions this way and it can easily break, and you don't want that. What kind of hairstyles can you do? You can do a lot of hairstyles. These are actually surprisingly versatile. I will say it just depends on which one you're using. So for all of the halos, I usually wear my hair down just because that's just how I feel the most comfortable. I do recommend doing lower hairstyles when you're wearing the halo. So that would be like a half up, half down, or like a low ponytail or a low bun. I don't recommend doing anything high, although I know there is a way you can, and I believe they have like a ton of hair tutorials on their website, but I just haven't tried that because it makes me feel like my extension is like coming off of my head, so I just stick to low hairstyles for the halo. If I want to do something like a high ponytail or a bun on top of my head or a braided crown or anything like that, then I use clip-ons. I also love that I'm easily able to switch up my look with hair thickness or length just by popping in a different extension. I really like having a variety and having a choice in that. How do they do with travel? I have a lot of experience with this. The past year and a half, I actually did travel a ton. I mean, not so much in the last few months, but last year I traveled a lot. I've gone to New York Fashion Week and experienced wearing them in the cold and in the heat. I've worn them to Disneyland. I've worn them to Puerto Vallarta. I've worn them to Palm Springs, and I've worn them to a few other places. If it's windy, I use the hair tie to pull my hair back in a ponytail or in a braid to keep it from getting tangled, because you definitely don't want that. And if it's rainy, I would recommend having an umbrella or wearing like a hooded jacket or something just to protect the extension, because it is real hair, and I noticed that when it does get wet, it does wave a little bit. And if it's humid, I recommend getting creative with your hairstyles. Out of all the places that I traveled, I noticed the biggest challenges when I went to Puerto Vallarta. I went in August and it was humid. So where I live, it is really hot, but it is a dry heat, and down there it was like humid, and I have never experienced humidity like that before. It was crazy. On the first day I was getting ready for dinner, and so I curled my hair, and once I got outside to walk to dinner, I kid you not, the curls just came unraveled and I started sweating like crazy, and it was not a good look. For the rest of my trip, I put my hair in braids or styled it in a way that was pulled back and off of my skin, and it was fine. Okay, so now my overall thoughts. I love my extensions. I cannot tell you how many people think that this is my real hair, and it just makes me so happy because it does blend in really well and it looks very natural, and I love that I'm able to change up my look anytime I want. I love that they don't damage my hair. This has honestly been like life-changing. I know that's kind of funny to say about an extension, but I love them so much. I swear I am like their biggest spokesperson. Thoughts on customer service? I have no complaints. They helped me color match and They answered all of my questions and they were so nice and so helpful, got back to me within a day, usually just within a few hours. Shipping was lightning fast. I think it was maybe like 3 days at the most. I know it can vary depending on where you live, but for me it was super fast. Here are some pros and cons. Pros, and this one was a huge one for me. I have not had any damage to my real hair from these extensions. Having come out of a situation where it completely damaged my hair beyond repair, I did not want to have my hair falling out or like damaged more than it was. But I was also afraid that the wire would be rubbing my head constantly and that I would lose hair in that spot. And that totally has not been my experience at all. It is there, it is snug, it doesn't move around, it doesn't slide all over my head. I have not lost any hair. I also love that they have a lot of different options. So they have a few different halos. They have the natural looking Daydream, but then they also have the more glam Hidden Crown, and now the layers. They also have clip-ins. So if you are not a fan of the halo, or if you are too scared to try the halo, then you can do clip-ins and you can wear them like traditional hair extensions, or you can use them like how I like to use them and make all kinds of crazy hairstyles using the extensions. They also have the bungee pony, and then they also have the crown topper. The topper is so cool. I have not tried this because I don't feel like I really need it, but if you have any balding areas up here, or if you have a part that is maybe a little more sparse, then I recommend trying out the topper. Another thing that I liked was that the hair is high quality. It is amazing, and even after 20 months of wearing my original extensions, this is actually the Hidden Crown, and this is my older one, and it still looks incredible. They also have tutorials for everything you need on their website. Everything from the application process to fitting your halo extension to different hairstyles. So if you haven't tried a halo extension, that is probably one of your worries. You're probably like, how does it work? How do I put it on? How do I fit it to my head? I promise you they have everything that you could possibly need, and they make it so easy. I also love that they include all of the tools and everything you need in your package. So aside from the extensions, they do have the color match samples, pliers, extra wire and beads, a comb, a clip, storage bag, a hanger. They are also super easy to customize if you want to cut it to a certain length, or if you want to put layers in or highlights or color it. You can pretty much do anything that you can do to real hair. And as for cons, I would say that they are a bit pricey and that it would be an investment. But when you compare it to permanent extensions like bonds or tape-ins, the price is way lower. And I love the fact that you can just take it out and it's not permanently glued to your head. And I do know that there are cheaper extensions out there because I have used them. But in my opinion, when it comes to extensions, you get what you pay for. If it's a cheaper extension, it's cheaper for a reason. And although the other brand was cheaper and they said that their hair was 100% Remy hair, I don't believe it. The hair texture was really coarse and kind of fake looking, and it was shiny. These are like shiny in a good way, like shiny like your natural hair, but those were shiny like fake shiny. And the color that I got, I mean, I don't know, it's possible that it could be a color that just wasn't a match for me, but it was like more yellowy and you could just tell I was wearing them. But again, that is just my experience with that one brand, and I haven't tried any other brands since aside from Hidden Crown, and that's after I did a lot of research. And trust me, like when I research something, I really research it. And if you're watching this video, then you're probably doing research too. So you know what I mean. And I know that that con sounds more like a pro, but I think to some people it can definitely be out of budget. So I do understand that the price point is a little bit higher, and that is not always something that someone can afford. But I think that if you are looking for a good extension and you can afford it, I highly, highly recommend Hidden Crown. Also, I just want to note that I am not being paid to say these things at all. This is 100% my honest feedback, and I hope that I answered all of your questions about the extensions. If you have any more, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll be sure to answer. And if you'd like to see me try out some hairstyles using the different extensions, definitely let me know. I can do that for you. If you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to share this video with your friends and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. You can also follow me at LIZZIEINLACE on Instagram if you like pretty pink things because my whole feed is pink. And if you want to see more reviews and more hairstyles using my extensions, make sure you check out my blog, www.LIZZIEINLACE.com. I will see you guys next week. Bye!